Good evening, Honorable Speaker Dr. Vijay Viswanathan, Vice President of our association Mr. Asit Kanango, Coordinator Welfare Committee of ILTA Mr. Kausik Bhuiya, and all the participants. We are going to start today's webinar on prevention of diabetic amputation, actions and remedies. This event is an initiative of Welfare Committee of Indian Electrolysis Association. The committee has planned to organize many such programs in future, mainly for the welfare of the members and the society as a whole. After deliberation is over, Dr. Viswanathan will reply to the queries of the participants. All participants are requested to send their question or raise your hand via chat so that he can be called to ask his question during question and answer session. Till then, the participants will be kept in mute mode. You may please unmute yourself at an appropriate time of your turn. In case all questions could not be attended due to limitations of time, you may please send your query to our office email for onward submission to the Honorable Speaker. The session will continue for approximately 1 hour. We request all participants to give a patient hearing. You can also participate in Facebook Live for this event. Today on the digital dais, Dr. Vijay Viswanathan, the Honorable Speaker, Mr. Kanango, Vice President of ILTA, Sushanta Mullik, the General Secretary of ILTA, Mr. Kausik Bhuiya, Coordinator, Welfare Committee of ILTA. Now I request Mr. Kanango to deliver his welcome address.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today, since our President, Mr. Arnav Jha, is suffering from cough and cold, I have been assigned by default to welcome you all for this year-ending health webinar of ours, Prevention of Diabetic Amputation, Actions and Remedies, by Dr. Vijay Viswanathan, an eminent diabetologist from Chennai. As you might be aware, India has a diabetic population of 3% of this entire country. And rightly, that's why it is called as the diabetic capital of the world. And out of these diabetic patients, probably due to this disease only, about 40% of limb operations takes place roughly around a year. And to add it to these woes too, this pandemic, that's COVID-19, has also taken some lives because of the different comorbidities, and out of that, diabetes is one of them. So hence, I feel this webinar is going to be a very significant one to end the year of 2020, which everybody wants to forget. For this, to organize the things, I thank our welfare coordinators, Mr. Jivan Das Gupta and Mr. Kausik Bhuiya, our HR committee coordinator, Mr. Ratan Chaudhary, and Dr. Bhavendranath Das, an eminent footwear scientist, to organize this talk. I hope it will be very helpful to all of our audience. And finally, a very happy and new year for 2021. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kanango. To add with your speech, India has 7.5 crores people suffering from diabetes, which stands to second position in the world after China. 24% of these people are able to bring it under control, but remaining 76% are at high risk, which may lead to damage or loss of important organs like kidney, liver, and lower part of the body. Although people with diabetes have an increased risk of amputation, it is possible to prevent most diabetes-related amputations by wearing proper footwear and taking care of your feet. Therefore, we should have knowledge on how to take care of our health and feet under diabetic condition. Here is the need of guidance and advices from an well-experienced good doctor like Dr. Viswanathan. the Honorable Speaker of this webinar. So let's listen and learn for the sake of our good health. Let me introduce Dr. Vishwanathan to you. He is the head and chief diabetologist, MV Hospital for Diabetes and Professor M. Vishwanathan Diabetes Research Center, Chennai. These two institutions were started by his father, Professor M. Vishwanathan, in 1954. He was a renowned doctor of the world. These two institutions report to the World Health Organization, Geneva, as a collaborating center for research, education, and training in diabetes. He has completed 29 years as a diabetologist. After his MD in 1991, he has been awarded a PhD in diabetes and kidney by the TN Dr. MGR Medical University in 1999. He has been awarded FRCP from the Royal College of Physicians in London for his research contributions in diabetes. He is currently the National Vice President of the Research Society for Study of Diabetes in India. He is currently the President-elect of D Footwear International based in Belgium, which consists of diabetic footwear experts globally. So I request the Honorable Speaker to start his speech. And before that, I request all participants once again to keep their sound in mute mode and keep your video off till the speech is finished. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sushanta Malik. And I would like to thank Mr. Sushanta Malik, Mr. Kanugo, and Mr. Arnab Jha, and all the members of the Indian Leather Technologies Association, ILTA, for, first of all, choosing such a topic to talk today and to listen to today. I think there's a lot of connection between diabetes and footwear, and the foot, of course, which I'm going to tell you. And my talk will be for about 15 minutes, not more than that. So my talk will be for about 15 minutes. And first of all, I would like to thank my very good collaborator, Mr. B.N. Das, who was heading the Shoe Design and Development Center in CLRI in Chennai, with whom we collaborated for several years. And I would like to thank him for this invitation. And of course, to the ILTA for this invitation. What I'm going to do in the next 15 minutes, and I'll try to share my slides, is to talk to you about diabetes and diabetic foot for about maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and then slowly introduce you to the concept of footwear and what we have done in the last 3 decades about footwear. So I hope you can see my slide. So diabetes, as you heard from the introductory remarks, is a vascular disease. It's not a deficiency of insulin alone or a metabolic disease. It's a vascular disease, because what happens is when there is diabetes, I'm trying to search for the laser pointer, every single blood vessel from the brain to the foot is affected in diabetes. And that leads to a lot of what we call comorbidities, a lot of problems associated with diabetes, like stroke, cardiovascular disease, amputation, retinopathy, kidney disease, and so on. Now, the human foot is a beautiful structure which God has created. It consists of 27 bones, 19 muscles, and 32 joints. It's such a beautiful structure which we cannot create, only God can create. So no human being can create such a beautiful structure. But what happens in people with diabetes is it gets massacred with infection and neuropathy and less blood supply, about which I'll talk to you in the next 12 minutes. So this is how the foot, which is so beautiful to look at, gets massacred by infection, and ultimately the person has to lose this foot and become an amputee. So this is what is going to be my topic for the next 12 minutes on how we can prevent amputation. So this, first of all, I would like to tell you that this was the first study from India, from our center, where we looked at the cost of diabetes care in India. There were very few studies before that, so this was probably the first study. And we found that the cost of diabetes care in India, this was much before the pandemic and so on. It was about 10 years ago we did this study in 2010. We found that the cost of diabetes care in India was about 31.9 billion US dollars, which is a huge amount of money. Now, the important point is, as the number of complications with diabetes increase from 1, 2, 3, and so on, the eye, kidney affected, and so on, the cost also increases, and also the loss of income. Supposing you are laid up with COVID infection, and for 15 days or 14 days you are in quarantine, you lose income, you can't go for your job. So similarly, the person with diabetes has some diabetic complications. The loss of man days and loss of median income is tremendous. So diabetic complications are very expensive because they are responsible for a lot of direct cost, the fees which you pay to the hospital, which is called the direct cost, but it's also indirectly responsible for you losing your income and losing the days you work. So the diabetes produces a lot of loss of income and damage to the income by direct as well as the loss of man days. And this is not only for the patient, but also for the primary caregiver. Supposing the husband is admitted with, and he's working and he's admitted in the hospital. The wife, supposing you take the spouse who's also a school teacher or something, she also has to be with the husband in the hospital, and she loses her income also. Therefore, diabetes is a very expensive disorder or disease because the patient, the primary caregiver, everybody loses their job and sits with the patient. Now, let me go on to the main subject of diabetic foot and amputation and footwear, where leather technologies have to play a very important role. So, the diabetic foot is occurring because of a condition called diabetic neuropathy, where the nerves are affected and the bones are exposed to high pressures from the ground. From the ground forces are very high, and you get a lot of injury or insult to these bones and joints in the foot. And so what happens is you get a skin ulceration. So this is how most of the foot infections happen. Now, when you talk about the feet in people with diabetes, you can have somebody with normal feet with no loss of sensation. You can have somebody with diabetic neuropathy where you have lost sensation. And then you can have somebody who has developed an ulcer already. And then you can have somebody who's got infection over the ulcer. And you can have somebody with a gangrene in stage 5. So these are these different stages in which you see people with diabetes, with normal feet or high-risk feet, ulcerated foot, and so on. So we see patients in all stages of this, what you see in this slide. Now, amputation happens, as I told you, when there is so much of infection, florid infection in the foot, which leads to amputation. So this was one of the earliest studies from India, where we looked at diabetologists from different regions in the country, including Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Assam, West Bengal, Jharkhand. We took from every place in India, and we had so many diabetologists who looked at the data, and we found that the number of amputations which happen across the country, India, is due to infection and infection in the foot. And the picture I showed you, if you remember, where the joints get involved with the ground forces and infection happens and you go in for an amputation. Therefore, most of the amputations which happen in India are due to diabetic neuropathy. Now, this is what happens. So when you get an infection, sometimes the infection is so florid, it spreads the entire foot and we have to amputate because you cannot save such a foot which is badly damaged the tissues and which has got gangrene. Therefore, in the last 10 minutes, let me talk to you about how we can prevent amputation and what is the role of leather technologists, footwear specialists in this process of preventing amputation. First of all, as I told you, it is neuropathy which is the main responsible factor for developing foot ulcers and amputation. On top of that, deformity occurs, which I'll show you in the next few slides. And then there is an injury which ultimately leads to a foot ulcer. So this is what happens in almost every person with diabetes who develops a foot ulcer. Therefore, the first job of a physician or a diabetologist is to examine the foot for loss of sensation with temperature or with vibration, whichever gadgets. There are several gadgets available to make a diagnosis of what I showed you in the preceding slides, the at-risk foot. You have to detect loss of sensation. Secondly, one of the important factors in our country for development of a foot ulcer is bad footwear. This is the type of footwear, the V-shaped Hawaii chappals, which are used by most of the Indians, especially the migrant laborers and other laborers, and they develop an ulcer because they have no sensation in the foot. Their muscles are all weak. Therefore, let me now recite a story where leather technologists and doctors like me got together. This was a story of the collaboration with Central Leather Research Institute, along with Mr. B.N. Das and Dr. Ramasamy, who was the director of CLRI at that time. So this was a fantastic collaboration which happened with CLRI and a collaborative work between the Shoe Design and Development Center and our own hospital happened for a number of years. And the end result I'll show you. We set up, along with the help of CLRI, we set up a footwear manufacturing unit. And it's very important. In India, footwear for people with diabetes is simply not there, like in European countries or in the United States. We had CLRI and we together had to work together to make footwear and with newer materials. So we used PU foam, we used EVA soles, and we used leather to cover it up. So this is how we started off in 1991. And with the help of CLRI, we developed more and more facilities. We started in a very primitive manner, people sitting on the floor and working. And the beauty was the cost was only about 400 rupees for one pair of footwear for people with diabetes, because these people were making it by hand and we were selling it for 400 and 600 rupees. Very soon, along with the help of CLRI, we started developing more beautiful aesthetic footwear, which you can see in these shelves. We had the upper shelf, the ladies model, and then the gents model. And for people who had foot ulcers, we developed some footwear also, which I will show you in the subsequent slides. So these were classical footwear with a open toe box and a toe box which was wider, and there was a counter at the back, and we had no material which like the stitches on the inside part which could hurt the people who have neuropathy. Therefore, a lot of research happened between CLRI, who were leather technologists, and doctors like me. We finally came up with a beautiful product called Diastep, along with CLRI, which was a beautiful product which we developed together, did research together, published a research paper. And you can see this is how the Diastep looked like, which had a beautiful specially designed insole bed, a unit sole with rocker bottom, and it was made of cow softy leather on top. There was a plastizote layer in between to make it little stiff. We didn't want the footwear to be quite flexible. We wanted to be having a rigid outer sole. And then we had a padded ankle support, a rigid stiffener, which is very important for people with diabetic neuropathy, and of course the extra depth for effective pressure distribution. So it is a beautiful footwear which we developed with the leather technologies, the CLRI. And I'm very happy that we launched it in 2009 with none other than Dr. Ramasamy, and Sir took over as the president of the director of CLRI from Ramasamy, and he was also a part of it, Dr. Mandal, and we had Mr. Das and his colleagues sitting in the audience. So we launched this Diastep with great fanfare, and it was well received all over the country. And the CSIR was particularly interested in this footwear. We also applied for a patent, and I'm very happy that CLRI and the Professor M. Vishwanathan Diabetes Center in Chennai have a patent in the name of Diastep for this product. And we also published an article, as I said, in the Journal of the American Diabetes Association in 2004, where we reported different insole materials, and we found that most of them were quite useful in reducing the plantar pressures under the foot and so on. Therefore, this was a beautiful research paper which we published in one of the reputed journals of the world, which is the official journal of the American Diabetes Association, with colleagues with CLRI and our own institute, the Professor M. Vishwanathan Diabetes Center. We also had a small collaboration with the CFTI, with Mr. Murli as the director, and developed some models of footwear, which we called as a designer footwear, which was already beautiful, the footwear which we developed with CLRI, but we developed these footwear by the students of CFTI, and with the help of CLRI and CFTI, we were able to upgrade our footwear manufacturing unit, and we were able to produce much better footwear. Since I had done a lot of work on footwear and offloading, in 2019, I was invited to be a part of this international working group on diabetic foot, on offloading the foot ulcers. This is one of the guidelines which is followed in 193 countries. And I'm very happy that I was invited along with experts from Italy, Sweden, London, United States, and Netherlands to be a part, and Australia, to be a part of this international working group on diabetic foot, on the offloading devices. The people with diabetes, because of neuropathy, develop a lot of deformities, as you see. The Charcot foot is one of them, flat foot, and hallux rigidus, hammer toes, claw toes. So these people need specialized footwear. They need customized insoles. So that's what is more important in the concept of offloading. When people have an ulcer in the forefoot, they need this sort of what is called half shoes, which is quite popular in Europe, but not very popular in India because people tend to fall and they must walk with a walker. We also have the sort of ortho-wedge footwear for people with forefoot ulcers, people with heel ulcers, and so on. And this is also being used in India very much. As I told you from the Diafoot, Diastep, the good therapeutic footwear will have all the designs like a rigid outer sole. They should have a good counter, a toe box which is quite accommodative, and the foot itself should be accommodated in this footwear and the shoe, and the insole should be specially made, customized insole to reduce the peak plantar pressures under the foot. We have come a long way because our main mission is to prevent amputation. Because if you lose a leg, like this person walked barefoot in the beaches of Goa, and he did not know that he had neuropathy. He took up his footwear and walked on the beach of Goa, and he had to be amputated. Mr. Robin Singh, who's the team coach for Mumbai Indians and who's a cricketer himself, was the chief guest for this function where we distributed on the International Day of People with Disabilities. So we don't want people with diabetes to become people with disabilities. We don't want people with diabetes to undergo an amputation. So that's the main mission. And the only thing which can help such people with diabetes, is proper examination of the feet. Many people in India have cracked feet, bad nails, badly cut nails. So foot care, pedicure is very important in India. And most of our people, they give so much of importance to the face and jewelry, but when you look at their feet, it is so dirty. So I think it's very important that we give a lot of importance to the feet and wipe the areas between the toes, keep it dry, and look after the feet very well. Examine the feet every day and get the foot examined by a foot clinic expert once a year. So this is what we need to do. And as the president-elect of DFoot, which is based in Belgium, about which Mr. Sushant Malik mentioned, next year I'm going to take over the DFoot International based in Belgium, which will consist of diabetic foot experts from 193 countries. And I bring best wishes from Belgium to all of you who took part in this program today. And I would like to thank you for this attention and stop sharing and take any questions if you have any. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Vishwanathan, for delivering the extremely useful lecture to educate us. Now, I request our coordinator to unmute the participants so that they can ask their questions.
I think it's quite appropriate that the Indian Leather Technologies Association has organized this program, because as I showed you, the connection between physician and the leather technologies and footwear technologies is very important. And I showed you how we developed this relationship and collaboration. And we published a research paper on reducing amputations, reducing the pressures in the foot with this collaboration with the CLRI, which represents Leather Association in Chennai. So I think there is a very strong relationship between doctors, physicians, and leather technologies. Many fields, diabetes is one of them. You can have rheumatoid arthritis. You can have many conditions where footwear plays a very important role. Leprosy, Hansen's disease, was a condition which was there earlier. We don't see that many cases of leprosy, Hansen's disease now. That was another condition where there was loss of sensation and people got ulcers under the foot. So I think there is a lot of collaboration which is necessary between the leather industry, leather technology, footwear industry, footwear technologies, experts, and the doctors. Thank you.
Hello.
You have
Do
a
you want
question?
My question is, what are some common food problems with the diabetes?
So the commonest problem, Mr. Jivan Das, is people with diabetes after some 5 years lose their sensation, their feet, and they develop what is called insensate feet. So because of this insensate feet, the muscles will become very weak and they'll find it extremely difficult to hold on to their footwear. And when they walk, especially with the V-shaped Hawaii chappals, the chappals will fall back and they will move forward. So that's the commonest problem, diabetic neuropathy. And because of the deformity in the foot, because of the sensation loss and loss of muscle power, they get deformities in the feet. So you get clawing of the toes. If you see the toes of many of the diabetics, it'll be like this. It won't be straight. It'll be clawing. That's because the intrinsic muscles, the muscles in the foot, are weak, and they have to grip like that every day, and their foot ultimately turns like this. So it's called clawing of the toes. So this is a very common problem in people with diabetes.
With some problem.
Yes, thank you. Can another question? May I? Can diabetes affect throughout the body except food?
Yeah. So as I showed you in the first slide, diabetes is a vascular disease. It affects every single blood vessel in our body, from the brain, from the head till the foot. Wherever blood vessels are there, diabetes affects. So the eye, the brain, heart, the upper limbs, you can get upper limbs involvement, you can get heart, knees, you can get any affection in the body wherever blood vessels are there. So diabetes is not only affecting the feet, but feet is the most neglected area. People are so much aware of the heart, they go and do angiogram, angioplasty, bypass surgery. But they don't realize that the foot can be involved, and they give very little importance to footwear and cleaning the feet, as I showed you in the last slide. So that's a problem.
Doctor, I'm Ratan Chaudhary. Can you hear me, doctor?
Yeah, we can hear.
I'm Ratan Chaudhary. I have diabetes, but with the diabetes, controlled diabetic, I'm taking the medicine. But I have a certain, fatty body, which is overweight. So, what are the precautions I have to take? Because I have a L4 L5 problem. So I'm using the good quality shoes like Hush Puppy and Bata, all these good shoes I'm wearing. But is there any necessity to take care, because I am observing my foot finger is little bit of steep. One right leg foot finger is little bit of steep. That what you are suggesting, finger tips and other things. So what are the precautions I have to take daily basis for
So
foot
again,
care?
yeah, thank you, sir. So I think since you have long-standing diabetes, though it's under control, your feet can be involved in a condition called diabetic neuropathy. So the first thing is to go to a diabetologist or a physician and examine the feet for loss of sensation. The physician will do some 1 or 2 simple tests to tell you that you have loss of sensation. Number one. Number two, the footwear which you are using, you said about Hush Puppies and Bata and so on. You'll wear it when you go outside your home because it's like a shoe. But inside the home, most people don't wear footwear. These Hush Puppies are kept near the door, and when you go outside, you wear it. But many people in India do not wear footwear when they are inside the house. They will say that there is photos of God and goddesses in the room, so I cannot walk with footwear. So I think at least wear a socks when you are walking inside the home. You have what is called temple socks. We have socks with a silicone gel layer inside. So you can have those sort of socks, or wear footwear which has got a good wide toe box, like a sandal, I mean. So not a shoe. So with a broad toe box and with a counter at the back with a soft insole. You get it. You get it in all the footwear shops. And the inside of the footwear should not have any stitches because you don't have sensation. So
Hmm.
you keep on rubbing it every day. I mean, rubbing your inside of the foot with the footwear, you'll get an ulcer. So never walk barefoot inside the home. Hush puppies are not good, but inside the home, we may not wear the hush puppies. So
No.
be careful that inside the home also you walk for 6, and during lockdown, 24 hours you must have been inside the home. Now, without lockdown, you still spend about 6 to 8 hours inside the home. Time you get up, when you go to bed, before you go to bed, you spend a lot of time inside the home. Therefore, I think it's very important that you take care of your feet even inside the home by wearing some soft sandal, which is available. Soft sandals are available in most of the shops. So I think it's very important to wear footwear always.
So soft sandal means what you mean for the soft sandal? Is it for the the Bata they have introduced
Yeah.
some soft sandal is a rubber sandal but synthetic Hawaii couple, but it is a bit expensive 350 rupees. That type of sandal you are asking advising to
So,
using in the
yeah.
home.
So the sandal should be like a sandal. It should have a toe box, which is white. You should have a counter at the back,
Oh,
and you should have a soft insole. The,
oh.
if I can be allowed to say one or two names, Crocs, for instance, is a good footwear. It has got some counter. So Crocs is a good footwear. But wear a socks and wear a Crocs. And Bata also has a lot of footwear. So it should be having a broad toe box and most importantly, no stitches inside. Many of these, many of the footwear sandals have stitches inside the on the upper part of the upper, in the upper, the lower, in the inside part of the upper. So that should be avoided because it keeps scratching the foot on the top and producing abrasions, ulceration. Therefore,
Do you have, yeah. You
yeah.
tell, you can finish it. Now, do you have any, any of your chamber or your organization in Calcutta to check for the your food every occasionally,
No,
or
any
we have to go to the Chennai to for your consultation?
no, the footwear exam, the foot examination can be done by any physician. In Calcutta, many of the physicians examine the foot for neuropathy. It can be done by any physician who is uh, practicing diabetes. So you can get it examined. The footwear, unfortunately, in India is not developed because of this collaboration with Mr. B.N. Das and CLRI. We were able to develop these footwear. So these footwear are available uh, to by we are you can order through our app. MV Diabete app is there. We can order it through that. So we are sending footwear. It's only that when you have a problem of a deformity in the feet, you need customized insole. And these off-the-shelf footwear, like what we developed with CLRI, the Diastep cannot be used. These are off the shelf. So off the shelf cannot be used for people who have deformity in the feet. You need customized insole. So what is the other question in the chat box? Is it possible to reverse stage 2, 3 of diabetic foot by proper? Yeah, so there's a question from the chat box. So
Yes.
yeah, so I think the neuropathy is an irreversible condition, irreversible. Once you get diabetic neuropathy, there is no going back. Therefore, only primary prevention, that is, you control your diabetes right from day one and prevent neuropathy. Now, once you get neuropathy, you cannot get back your sensation. In stage 2 and 3, when you lost your sensation, nothing can bring back the sensation in the feet. But the foot can be taken care properly and ulceration can be avoided by preventing the wasting of the small muscles and so on. Therefore, but I don't think it's possible to reverse diabetic neuropathy. Get back your sensation in stage 2 and stage 3 by controlling diabetes also, by taking insulin also. It's not possible to reverse neuropathy, unfortunately.
Okay. Thank you, doctor.
Anybody has any question, please unmute yourself and ask the question.
I want to ask, but not able to tell. Probably I am being muted.
No, you can unmute yourself, we can listen you. You can ask the question.
Please go ahead.
Myself.
Hello.
Please go ahead. Mr. Mitro, please go ahead.
I want to know that all diabetes create problem in foot or some specific type of diabetes. The diabetic problem creates problem in foot.
Yeah.
That those types or those species.
Mhm. So diabetes is of basically two types, type 1 children and type 2 in adults. So among type 2s, after about 5 years of diabetes, they will develop some form of diabetic neuropathy. Their temperature sensation will be lost, vibration sensation will be lost, small fiber neuropathy, large fiber neuropathy. Therefore, if you have uncontrolled diabetes, number one, if you have diabetes for more than 5 years, 3, if you're above the age of 50 or 60, these are the people who develop foot problems. Those who have a long duration of diabetes, more than 5 years, those who have uncontrolled diabetes for a long time. And third is age above 50 or 60, you can have problems in the feet. Those who are smoking will get problems because of loss of blood supply to the legs. You get gangrene. We see a lot of gangrenes nowadays because people are smoking and they lose the blood supply to the leg. That's the fourth reason. So not all people with diabetes will get this problem. These 4 people are more prone to get foot problems, as I told you just now.
That means it depends mainly on age.
Age, duration of diabetes, how long you have diabetes. Third, the level to which your diabetes is uncontrolled. It's not just age. I have many patients who are 75 years old who have controlled their diabetes well, who have no neuropathy, no problems in the feet. So
May
I
I
think,
know?
yeah.
The natural treatment, natural means of livelihood, which can control these types of diabetes.
So diabetes is controllable to a large extent by diet. We published a paper yesterday. It was funded by the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, showing that yoga, 6 types of yoga exercises help in diabetes. It was published in an international journal called Diabetes Research and Clinical Practice, coming from Belgium. That's the official journal of the International Diabetes Federation. We showed yoga can help in diabetes control, and it's been published yesterday in an international journal, and it's been funded by the Department of Science and Technology. So yoga is good because it helps your body's insulin to work better. If you're fat, if you're obese, your body's insulin is not working properly. Therefore, if you lose weight, if you do regular exercise, if you do yoga, if you take a tablet called metformin, which is our allopathic medicine, you can make the insulin work better in your body. Therefore, many natural methods, yoga is one of them. So, classic, beautiful example. By doing yoga asanas, you can control your diabetes. I hope, yeah.
I can request the President, General Secretary, and the editor of JILTA that article which was published can republished into the JILTA.
Okay,
I don't know.
definitely will request our honorable speaker. I think Lakshmi Narayan Shao, you want to ask any question?
No, Sushanta, okay, I understand everything.
Mr. B.I. Molla, you had a question. Mr. Mullah, can you hear?
He has to unmute himself.
You please unmute yourself.
I think Mr. Tarak Shah has also raised his hand.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay, let Mullah finish, then we'll go to Tarak Shah.
Hello.
Yes.
Actually, I having a one question, Dada, to Dr. Saab. Hello. Can you
go
hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, Dr. Saab, just having a one question. If any patient already take treatment under insulin, can he back to again in medication?
Yeah, it's possible. Because what
Okay.
happens is when you take insulin for 3 months,
Okay.
the insulin producing cells called beta cells,
Yeah.
they work better.
Okay.
Therefore, when the sugars are high, take insulin, bring down
Okay.
the sugar level,
Okay.
and your beta cells which produce insulin work
Okay.
better. Therefore, insulin is not always a life sentence, as many
Okay.
people
Okay.
think. We give insulin for 3 months,
Okay.
control the diabetes,
Hmm.
and make the beta cells function. The beta cells are the insulin producing cells in the pancreas.
Okay.
Therefore, once you start insulin, as many people think, it's not a life sentence, it's not a death sentence.
Okay.
You can go off insulin after 3 months, 6 months. There are many people who have given up insulin.
Yeah. Some people are already having a more than a year even.
Yeah.
Dr. Sir, one more question I have. The insulin is the better treatment or medicine is the better treatment for any side effect to the body?
Yeah, so there is no study which has shown tablet is better, insulin is better, and so on.
Okay.
In fact, one new class of medicines have come to the market about
Okay.
2-3 years ago,
Right.
under different names like Foxiga and Jardine's. They work
Okay.
inside the kidney and they
Okay.
prevent heart failure and kidney disease.
Okay.
That's way beaten insulin. It's a
Okay.
new drug from AstraZeneca, from Boehringer Ingelheim, and from different companies.
Right.
Indian companies have also started making. So that
Okay.
drug prevents heart failure and
Okay.
it prevents kidney damage. Therefore,
Right.
in some cases, tablets work wonders.
Okay.
There are some cases where the beta cells are damaged
Okay.
beyond repair, when none
Mhm.
of these tablets work and you have to inject insulin.
Okay. So that will be a better way.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Dr. Sir. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Mr. Tarak Shah, please. Please unmute yourself. Mr. Tarak Shah.
Hello,
Yes.
I want to put one question to you.
Yes.
That I have been suffering from diabetes for more than 5 years. So one question, I am taking the metformin and tanagliptin and glimepiride. These tablets I am taking on the advice of the doctors. But one thing I want to know, that instead of using these tablets, can I occasionally take some insulin instead of taking the tablets?
Yeah, if you're doing well with
It
tablets,
will be advisable or not?
yeah, if you're well controlled with tablet, there is no need to start insulin. You can go on. And if you're well controlled with the HbA1c test, what we call as HbA1c is below 7, you don't have to worry. But when you get into some illness, like I'm just giving an example, if you get COVID infection, coronavirus.
I had COVID infection and
You
I was in hospital for 10 days.
Yeah, if you get COVID infection,
I had,
yeah,
but I have recovered.
Yeah, I'm just giving an example. So you might need insulin. When you have a heart attack, you need insulin. So insulin is given as a temporary measure in people who are taking tablets also. So, but if you're well controlled with tablets and you don't have any COVID or heart attack or anything, and you're doing well, just go on. Don't take insulin.
While I was in hospital, after infected by the COVID, I was given, the doctor advised me not to take any medicines during that period. And they had been injecting some insulin.
Yeah.
It was very astonished to me, because instead of using this metformin or normal medicines, they had been injecting insulin to me.
Yeah,
What is the reasons?
yeah. Sriram, Dr. Leela,
Possible reasons.
you want to answer? My colleagues are there in the audience.
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, I'm Dr. Sriram.
Sriram is also there. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So he's asking, why did you give him insulin during
Okay, sir.
COVID?
Why the doctor was injecting me insulins during that period instead of normal medicine?
Right, sir. Sir, usually, see now the COVID infection, so that's the acute infection. Whenever when you get to any kind of infection, so insulin is a choice of treatment. Okay. So, and the tablets, that too, it showed metformin. Metformin, there is some chance of a thing called lactic acidosis. So lactic acidosis, of course, it's very rare, but even though at the time of, with the hospitalization and all those time, we will avoid tablets, sir, for the safety of the organs. Okay. So that's the reason why they are given you insulin. So insulin is the safest medicine, sir. That's why.
The second point must be, they must have put you on steroids, and steroids will increase the sugar level like anything. And tablets cannot control your blood sugar, only insulin can control. So sugar must have gone to 400 or 500 with steroids, which are given for COVID infection.
One more questions. I have tested some HbA1 test. It was about 7.3. So now I am using the tablets, but instead of that, that is the HbA1c test remains at 7.3. How can it be remedied? How it can be? I had been using that's a glimepiride and metformin hydrochloride and canagliptin.
So you have to check your fasting sugar, keep it below 110.
My fasting sugar is recently is 139.
Yeah, you should bring it to 110. And
I know that.
And your after breakfast should be 160. If you get this too, your HbA1c will come below 7. So if it is not coming down, in addition to your tablets, you can take little insulin called Lantus at bedtime. And then your fasting will come to 110. Your after breakfast will come to 160. Your HbA1c will come to 7. That's the best.
Like glycosylated.
Yeah, below 7.
Glycosylated hemoglobin.
Your question was how to bring it below 7.
Yes, below 7. How can I achieve that point?
By taking a little insulin called Lantus after dinner and keeping your fasting below 110 and PP after breakfast below 160 or 170.
Is it in insulin? Is it in tablet form or to be injected?
It's an injection, Lantus.
Injection. What is the name?
Lantus, L-A-N-T-U-S.
Brand name or it is a composition?
The generic name is called Glargine.
Generic name. What is the generic name?
Generic name is Glargine.
Glargine,
yeah. It's given once a day.
Glargine.
Leela?
What is the dose? Should be the dose?
Yes, sir.
No, the dose you can start with 10 units. And
Any other question, please?
Sorry?
Any other question, please?
You can talk in Bengali.
Oh.
Hello.
My colleague is there.
Yes, ma'am.
She speaks Bengali.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Anyway, we have to talk in English now.
একটু ল্যান্টাস একটু আরম্ভ করলে আপনার কিন্তু স্টার্টিং উইথ 8 ইউনিট টু 10 ইউনিট আপনি আরম্ভ করে তারপরে আপনার ফাস্টিং যত পর্যন্ত আপনার 110 না হয় এই সময় পর্যন্ত আপনি একটু একটু করে ল্যান্টাসটা বাড়িয়ে দিতে পারবেন। কিন্তু আপনার ইনসুলিনটা স্টার্ট করার আগে একবার লোকাল ডক্টরের কাছে গিয়ে কিরকম নিতে লাগে ইনসুলিনটা দেখলে ভালো।
Okay, okay.
So I think the footwear, to reiterate the point and conclude the session, I think the diabetes affects the foot, and this is a classic collaboration which happens between the doctor and the leather technologies and the footwear technologies. So I think the collaboration between Central Leather Research Institute headed by Mr. B.N. Das and our hospital about 20 years ago is a classic example how we worked together and
Yes.
created the footwear made fully out of leather and reducing the pressures under the foot and preventing foot ulcers. And we published a paper in the #1 American journal called Diabetes Care. Mr. Das, you would like to add something and conclude?
No, thank you first of all for your brilliant lecture, and your answering session was much better than this. I think people are very happy. There are a lot of new technology has come in shoemaking. So I hope our fellow experts will use this technology and make beautiful diabetic footwear as you shown as available in the Western country. Thank you, Doctor, again. And thank you, ILTA, for organizing such a nice seminar.
Thank you, Mr. Sushanta Malik and
Thank you, sir. I will take another 2 minutes from you. First of all, thank you very much to you, Dr. Sriram, and Madam Leela also for giving very informative answers to the question answer session. Before we conclude, I must request our coordinator, Mr. Kaushik Bhuiya, to deliver the vote of thanks, please. Yes, Mr. Bhuiya.
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for your participation and making today's webinar a successful one. On behalf of Welfare Committee, Indian Leather Technologists Association, I would like to thank today's speaker, Dr. Vijay Viswanathan, for taking out time from his busy schedule and deliver such an excellent and informative speech, which will be very helpful to all of us. My sincere gratitude goes to Dr. Bhavendranath Das, my college senior and an active member of ILTA, without whom this could not be organized in such a successful manner. My sincere thanks goes to ILTA office, all executive committee members of ILTA, especially to Mr. Ratan Chaudhary. Mr. Malik. The Welfare Committee is going to organize a series of healthcare programs in future also. Hope we shall get your cooperation in future also to make all these programs successful. Thank you all. Wish you all a very happy and prosperous new year ahead. Good night.
Thank you and wish you the same.
Thank you very much, Dr. Viswanathan.
Thank you.
Have a nice year, 2021.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we request you to send your article to us to publish it in our.
Yeah, I will certainly send the article to Mr. Sushanta Malik.
Yes, sir. If you send it, we'll be grateful.
And also one point I will request you.
Hello. Malik sir, I have one question. I am JP Saraswat from Jalandhar. Hello.
Mr. Viswanathan, can you attend another question?
Yeah.
Sir, I want to ask you one question to Dr. Viswanathan.
Yes.
That day my missus is suffering from the diabetes last 15 years. She is using the insulin as well as the tablet both. So can we tell me what is the side effect for the insulin or tablet she is using last 6 months?
Yeah, so as we discussed earlier, insulin is very much safe. The only problem with insulin.
But she is also be using the tablet also be.
Yeah, it's better to combine the two.
500 mg.
Yeah, it's better to combine the two. But the only problem with insulin, the sugar may drop in the middle of the night or early morning. So you have to check the blood sugar with a glucometer. You know the glucometer?
Yeah, we have a check thoroughly.
So you should check for fasting and before dinner regularly and see that the sugar doesn't drop low. That's the only problem with insulin. If the sugar drops low, they'll feel very hungry. They'll eat more and they'll put on weight. So that's the only problem with insulin. See that you check your sugar very regularly with the fasting and the before dinner.
Okay. Sir, I want to ask you, can we use the one thing insulin as if we want to be avoid this tablet? The
Yeah.
doctor consult to us. They suggest you are using the both one.
Yeah, but
Tablet
if
as
you-
well as the insulin.
if you stop the tablet, the insulin dose will go up very high. So it's better to take both insulin and tablet, the tablet in lesser dose,
Yeah.
so that your insulin requirement dose will be less. Otherwise, you'll require very high dose of insulin.
She is using the 10 unit in morning and 15 unit in evening.
Yeah, that's not too much. I think you should continue the same.
Now it is good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Doctor, how is the glucometer reliable?
Yeah, glucometer is reliable, but only thing is you have to calibrate it now and then. Some people buy it and don't calibrate it for 4 years. At least once a year, you should calibrate it with the company. It's a machine after all. So you should clean it well, keep it well, and calibrate it. And after 1 year, it's 1.5 years, better to change the machine.
Okay, better to change. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Vishwanathan.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir.
We have taken lots of time of you.
No problem. Thank you so much.
Okay, Happy New Year.
Yeah,
once
we do
again.
the same, sir.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.